When I first, came across the invitation for this talk, I thought that, it's extremely important for us to talk about why do we need to tell the stories that Chimam and many others talk about. Why is it important for us to talk about diverse stories? To give you a bit of background, I don't know if the presentation is working, if you could just help me with that. This is actually not my presentation. Anyway, so to give you a bit of a background, I started UKWAS when I was 17. I was just getting done with school and I was trying to figure out what to do next. As a young person myself, I was extremely interested in news and politics and current affairs, especially because of my parents. They were really interested in news and politics and current affairs, and I was growing up in an environment where we all were actively talking about what was going on in the country, what was happening in politics, what different politicians were saying, what are the issues around us, and so on. And I remember at the age of 17, hearing consistently from a lot of people that young people are extremely important. They're a big part of our country. They form a huge part of our democracy, of our population, and so on. And I would consistently hear this from my school principal, from my parents, from the politicians, and so on. But what I would fail to understand is that if young people are so important, what is available for them to actually go ahead and change things around them? I got done with my school and I realized that there is an immense amount of stereotyping that exists around young people, in our society in general and specifically around young people. There are severe differences that we are growing up with. There are boxes that we are forced into, be it career. We are pretty much told from the beginning what to pursue. Engineering, or business, administration, or medical, or law, and so on. Or be it other differences like caste and class and religion. If you're from this caste, you're this kind of a person. If you're from this religion, you're this kind of a person. And those are the stereotypes that we grow up with. India has a massive population. 1.3 billion is what one of the other speakers said. The number of young people in this 1.3 billion is over 600 million. And by 2020, the number of millennials in the country will be over 700 million. That's a massive population of young people. But remember, these young people are still growing up in a culture of silence, where breaking taboos is a taboo, where taking risks is a big risk, where you're not encouraged to question the norm, where you can't question back, where you can't agree, where you can't disagree, where you can't, question the very existence of certain policies, laws, and so on. It's difficult being a young person in India. At 17, when I realized this, I remember, having access to a computer. My brother was a software engineer, and I knew this, I had this word with me called, blogging, and I took to it immediately. At 17, I started a blog called utkiavas.blogspot.com, and I started writing my own personal opinions on issues around me, of what I heard from my friends, of what I saw around myself. But for those of you who've run blogs, who've probably been on the internet in 2008 when I started UKWAS, you know that it's difficult to get people to read what you're writing on the internet. And I remember for the longest time, my mother was my only consistent reader, and I would force her to read what I had written. And I remember this one time I had written about global warming. I was still finishing my 12th standard. I had written about global warming. And I went to my classmate and I said that, I've written this piece where I wanted to see what I think about climate change and global warming. And she went and she read, and I asked her to comment, so she commented on it, and she commented nice with a smiley. But the thing is, the issue is not nice at all. And that's when I realized that, it's the culture of silence is so severe that as young people, we just don't want to engage with issues around us. There's a severe lack of platforms. And that's when I realized the blog had to be more about others than myself. Because as somebody coming from a big enough privilege, a large enough privilege myself, I could find avenues to speak up. But there are many others who couldn't. So I opened up UKWAS, I let more people publish on it. I invited my friends to write on it. It was a difficult journey. And over the last 9 years, a blog that started with about 100 people a month in 2008, 2009, By 2011, had about 3,000 people reading it a month, and something really phenomenal happened in 2011. It was actually a big year for young people in general. It was a big year for young people on the internet in general. The Middle Eastern crisis broke out, and the mainstream media was pretty much shut down in all the Middle Eastern countries. And Twitter and Facebook became the primary channels for people to mobilize and organize themselves. Organizations like CNN, Al Jazeera, several others were quoting tweets for the first time in their news reports as credible sources. And before that, they hadn't even thought about it. And that was a big year for young people because they came out, they spoke up. Something phenomenal happened for youth chaos as well. I remember by that time, I already decided I wanted to pursue journalism. I was studying journalism. I was actually pretty much done with my undergrad. And I got an email from one of our writers, Pranay Manocha, and he said that, my father is stuck in Libya in the middle of the civil war, and I don't know what to do about it. So I asked him to write a blog on youth chaos because even I didn't know what more I could do. At that time in 2011, journalists weren't as accessible on Twitter and Facebook and so on. So the media was trying to cover the issue of Indians stuck in Libya, but it wasn't as active. So he wrote a blog on youth chaos, and he was living in London, so I remember publishing it at night. At around 2 a.m., I got a call from one of our volunteer editors saying that the website had crashed. So I woke up to check what had happened, and I realized that almost 100,000 people were trying to access Pranay's blog on youth chaos. And that was the moment when I put it up on Facebook. I called my blogger friends, asked them to publish it on their blogs, and by the morning, it was trending on Twitter. And pretty much all news organizations were trying to call me to get Pranay's contact so that they could get him on the prime time for their news channel. So we arranged for that. Pranay was on a news channel, his mother was on a news channel, and such was the impact. But the problem really was that a lot of geopolitical reasons were forcing the Indian government to not send their rescue operations just yet. Whereas the US and the UK and other countries had already done that. But because Pranay decided to speak up and tell his story, such was the impact that within 24 hours, the government decided to formulate a program around it and send ships and planes to get the citizens back. It was all over the news, and within 48 hours, not only was Pranay's father rescued, but 16,000 Indians who were stuck in Libya were brought back from there to the country. And that was the time when not only did I realize the true power of a bottom-up media platform, but a lot of people around me who used to say that, the internet cannot do anything, what can a blog do, what can a side project do, realized what it could actually do. A space for young people to talk about issues could really make policy move forward. And since then, that time when we were getting 3,000 readers a month, till today, when we're getting about 3 million readers a month, where we've had more than 100,000 people who've told stories on youth chaos, and pretty much every month there's a story that's having impact. I remember in 2012 there was this story which aimed to break menstrual taboos that are forced upon us by stereotypes that exist, by beliefs that exist. Started a national movement called Happy to Bleed, was reached out to more than 1 million people, was all over the media, and is consistently talking about breaking menstrual taboos for young women from across the country and the world. I remember another story that actually happened just this month. One of our regular readers went to Assam and met this street vendor, Guli Basu Matari, and realized that she was actually a national level archer, and she had medals, and she had won several national level contests. And such was the lack of government support that she was forced to become a street vendor. He wrote about it, he interviewed her, he wrote about it on Youth Kiavas, and within 48 hours there was so much conversation happening around it on Twitter, on Facebook, a lot of media organizations writing about it, that within 24 to 48 hours, we got a tweet back from Vijay Goel's office saying that she's been appointed as a coach in the Assam government state facilities for archery. And she got a government job, she was able to, make ends meet, and of course there's a big future for her lying ahead. And this is just pretty much the beginning. There have been several other impact stories, and there are many more waiting to happen. There are, like I said, 700 million young people, 700 million experiences, 700 million diverse stories to be told, and so many stereotypes to be broken, so many changes to be made. And if we all decide to speak up, not only can we rescue citizens, not only can we challenge norms and impact voting trends, we can actually make change happen. Thank you.